I'd say there was no hard feelings or anything. It was just a case of...
I'd be lying if I say there wasn't a few screenshots of the podcast sent into the chat here or there.
So if Ryan as a party can come down to training next week, ex-All-Star would be really good and a lot of help for us.
Give us till match day 7. All right, match day 7, I'm confident we'll have maybe another player or two in and just be fitter and actually have some team chemistry going. I could confidently say that he would have been the best centre back in the league if he was here.
Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome back to the Blacktown Premier League podcast, which is being filmed on a Wednesday night at Jonas Bradley Reserve. So, cue that intro music. Here come workers on! But it's falling here towards Icon!
Oh my word.
To find her teammate in Izzy Grant! And now played and struck! And in! People, Ryan Dominisi! Further forward now, Tagira!
We're all ready to play and yeah, we'll go out and smoke it this time.
Before we get into the crux of the episode, I just wanted to say, we are getting more than 25 likes on every episode. Our average numbers are through the roof. We have just surpassed and created a new all-time top viewed video on the channel, surpassing 1,300 views on the Predictions podcast, and we are having smashing records on the Match of the Round. So, keep this momentum going, because the more you put in, the more the players put in, the more talk is talked, and the more it's backed up on weekends as well, and the more great content we get here on these Match of the Round exclusives. So if you're enjoying it, press the like button so it gets better and better each week. Now, as you've seen on the thumbnail of this podcast, there is a former Ponds player who is at Mintenbury Jets who might just tear this league apart. He's already done it once. He's now 3 years more experienced than when he first did it. Could put some fear into the boots of players that are playing in this league. So let's not delay any further. Should we go chat to him? I think we should. We're here for the first time in a long time at Mintenbury Reserve. But take away any thoughts you had about this team as to where they might have seen you last time. This is a completely new outfit. And we're going to start straight away by asking the big questions. A 17-time goal scorer in PL1 with Ponds, that man Blake Curry is here to answer why he's wearing green this year. Blake, tell me first and foremost why you left Ponds.
I'd say there was no hard feelings or anything. It was just a case of a lot of us here have gone to school together, almost played our entire life, and we decided we just wanted to get the band back together, really. And an established team like Ponds, we weren't going to be able to bring 20, 30 players there and expect them to just give up either a whole reserve grade or a whole side or whatever. And yeah, so we came to Mintenbury because we knew they didn't have a team last year, and they welcomed us with open arms, and that was about it. Yeah,
very good to hear indeed, and good on Mintenbury for being able to house you guys. Blake, I go to you again. You're a guy who's gone from prospect to Ponds. In that time, I think you notched probably, I'd say, 70 goal contributions, goals and assists. Some sort of crazy number like that. You're now a more established player than you were a couple of years ago when that prospect reserve grade team made that grand final. And now you're back in PL2 after some PL1 experience. So are you ready to take the mantle of being the best player in this competition, in this division?
Look, I'd like to think of myself as not too cocky, so to speak, but I know that there would probably be a target over my head from a few teams that would know who I am, having watched me play the last few years and whatnot. I'm not overly interested in any sort of golden boot or being the best player, whatever comes. My main thing this year is winning a grand final, because 3 years in a row I've been in a grand final and I've lost all of them. So grand final's the big ticket this year.
Well said, and very humble indeed. You've obviously been watching that. Talking the talk does not always return the best of favours around this comp and on this podcast. Stan, I'm going to go to you. Welcome to the Blacktown Premier League podcast. Thanks for being involved tonight as the boys warm up behind us. Obviously, Resi's in PL2 is probably more important than it is in PL1 because the club championship and promotion push. Are you prepared to back up first grade and also put some points on the club championship board?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're hoping so. But a few of the Resis have actually stepped up into first grade and fitted quite well. So we're hopeful that they can do the job for us in reserve grade. We've only had a short time to get this squad together too. So in that short time, I'm happy with what we've got.
Will, welcome to the podcast as well. You've got to be one of the youngest coaches in the PL1 and 2. I guess in a way, like Blake, it kind of puts a target on your back as well. You're one of a couple of 𝐌𝐢𝐧𝐜𝐡𝐨 boys to be here, and I'm sure that's going to help you guys a lot, or create more fights around the dinner table. But tell me, off the back of, I assume, your father's answer?
Yes.
Off the back of your father's answer, I should have checked that before we started. Is the goal actually to go for promotion this year?
That's definitely a goal we've got. We had
trying to get this team together. Obviously, things work a bit differently. It was a bit of a struggle before the season started, getting the squad together. As Blake said, a lot of us are just mates of mates, or in my case, a brother of a mate of a mate. But we've definitely got some quality players. It would be great if we could push for promotion, but we're kind of just taking it one game at a time, doing what we can, and hopefully getting some results and putting on a show for everybody in the comp.
Good, and we certainly get a chance to see that in action come this Saturday. Evan, I don't want to make you cold while you're standing here, so sorry it's taken so long to get to you, but off the back of some promotion talks and how this squad came together, I have a couple of questions for you, because I know, especially you're an avid podcast watcher, I hope. Talk to me about maybe when you want to see those goals come to fruition, as in not just putting on a good show every week, but when you do eventually want to push for promotion, does the squad have an idea of how long that might take?
Yeah, I mean, look, being a new team, even if we are mates of mates, being a new team coming into the competition is always difficult. You don't have the promotional ability of a team that's been around for a while, or a team like, Town Rangers. They have artificial pitches and whatnot to offer. So we are obviously in our own journey. But again, we don't go into a game to lose it. Obviously, we want to win every game. Hopefully, first season is the season, but, we're not going to be arrogant. We know our place in the competition. We're just taking each game as it comes and seeing what happens from there.
Fair to say, I guess, it is a moonshot goal, and off the back of those, if it happens, that'd be obviously great, but it's not the be-all and end-all right now. Off the back of that claim about Mintenbury having a synthetic, you guys have a long jump pitch, so if it rains, you guys can use that, which we are recording on right now. If you know Mintenbury Reserve, you know it well. Again, let's talk about this squad. Prospector Ponds now down into PL2 with Mintenbury again. A lot of you guys mates of mates, friends from school. Talk to me about the chemistry you guys have. Has this come from literally playing lunchtimes together for many, many years? And is this squad looking good and happy to be together?
Yeah, I mean, recess, lunch, a lot of ripped socks, a lot of sweaty uniforms that had to be washed, but a lot of school soccer as well. We were all on our different paths. Me, myself, Blake, Nicola. We all went to Ponds initially. We had a couple of boys there. Shout out to them. They gave me some. Blake didn't necessarily need it. He's got the ability, but I needed, some experience, some getting adjusted to Premier League football, which the Ponds and Prospect helped with that. We'll just kind of all just banded together. It all kind of happened at the same time. People wanted to leave their specific teams and start something new. So, I mean, why not start something new together, see what we can create.
Blake, you're probably the guy in this competition who has the most ability and speaks the least about it, which I think is a great quality about you as a person away from this game as well. But again, I give you the chance to sort of break those boundaries down. 2 goals against the reigning champions, the grand final winners in round 1. Obviously, Nicola got 2 as well. But obviously, you're the headline name out of those, considering your experience and what you've done, your repertoire. Did they put up as much of a fight as you thought they would? And how'd you guys test up against them?
I'd say definitely the whole first half. It was probably more what, and I think everybody else will agree, what we were expecting. It was we went and watched the game the first week that we had to buy, so we were kind of ready for what was going to happen. But I think after the half time and then coming out, they maybe just started a bit slow, and they sort of fell apart. Not maybe to their not to discredit them or anything, but just the way it goes sometimes. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was a welcome challenge, I guess, I would say.
Well said. Will, I'm going to go to you. We hear very often when there's brand new coaches that the tactical approach is proactive and we want to do simple stuff well. If you're willing to, I mean, you don't have to, of course. I mean, you can sort of fit into that and keep the secrets. But if you're willing to, what do you ideally want to see this team play like when they have the ball, without the ball? If you want to let us in on some formations, perhaps, and how that might adapt, that'd be great. It's not that serious at the end of the day. The world keeps spinning. But tell us, what do you want this team to play like?
First and foremost, it's about enjoying, right? Everyone loves to win, but if you're going out there week in, week out and just not playing how you could or how you should, especially with we've got people like Blake in the team, you don't really want to be just pumping along every time. But at the end of the day, it is park football. We'll try and play as well as we can. I don't really have too much tactical analysis in that sense. It's more, just play simple.
That's really all we want. Play it simple, keep the ball moving. Let the ball do the talking, and then we'll hopefully get results. That way, it's worked for us last week. Probably would have been better if we didn't concede the 2 goals. That's probably something I will need to work on throughout the season. But apart from that, it's quite simple. I'd say just play the ball, keep it moving, and let's have fun and try and win.
Right, Evan, let's talk podcast predictions a couple of weeks ago. I know that there are people who are familiar with how this works. I labelled you guys as in jeopardy despite having a 17-time goal scorer in PL1. Already, that's looking feeble and foolish off the back of your round 1 result, but there's still plenty of the season left to go in saying that. What was the reaction to that around this squad, and did it motivate you, perhaps?
Yeah, look, in all fairness to you, you didn't know much about the squad, so, no hard feelings, I guess. But I'd be lying if I say there wasn't a few screenshots of the podcast sent into the chat here or there. I guess it's an extra motivation. It's not necessarily trying to prove anyone wrong, but it's always nice to see where you're predicted at the start of the season and turn that around at the end of the season. But like I said, we do know our place in this competition. We understand that we're new. I'd love to say, sucked in, we're going for promotion, but at the end of the day, we're just taking each game as it comes. But yeah, there was a few little conversations here and there about the Jeopardy comment, but it is what it is, and we move on.
Yeah, it is what it is, and I'll give a little shout out here to Troy Elcock. Next time, return my text messages, and we won't have this problem. All of a good bit of banter, or maybe not on your end, but if it's motivated you, good. I think that's a great thing, and I'm glad that people are talking about it. Let's now talk a little bit more, in this match of the round this weekend. Spurs are also a new team. It's also a team we know very little about. They have a coach who was going to be the ropes crossing PL1 coach before that project folded. And they have a couple of good players, like you Pons boys would know that Joey Fabiano is there, among some other players who have some good pedigree in their boots. Can anybody give me, this is sort of an open-ended question, anybody give me a bit of a prediction as to how this match of the round might go, how it might look based on what you might have seen so far?
We're not really looking too far ahead into the matchups and, deep diving their squad and stuff. So like, as we've said a few times before, we're more so, one game at a time. They might have quality, that's great. We know what we have as well. So we're basically just going into every game, trying to play the best we can, trying to get the results. I think it'll definitely be a good game to watch, especially on the artificial pitch.
Mintenbury, no, they're not in jeopardy Jets, and it looks like they're going to be a team that provides a lot of spark this year, a lot of goals, as we've certainly seen. And I guess it is a good thing for the neutral, perhaps, if they have some high-scoring games. I can't wait to see what you guys are truly made of, up close and personal. And thank you for your time here tonight. Very, very, very interesting approach to that podcast from Mintenbury. They kind of started off very humble, softly spoken about their chances of not just this match of the round, but how the season will go as a whole. And then you might have noticed, as I started asking some more probing questions, they responded to show a little bit more about what they think of their actual quality. And they're pretty convincing. Maybe I got that horribly wrong. Maybe they'll be way higher up the table. I won't reveal who, but someone here at Jonas Bradley tonight during the Pons Oz Cup game told me that they think that they could even get promoted. Time we go through some results as we split up these two interviews. In a rather shocking Women's Premier League match of the round, Holroyd put 8 past Parkley. Rouse Hill Rams strutted their stuff in a Hills affair. They beat Norwest 6-0. In another all-Hills game, Kellyville put 4 past Castle Hill. Marion really, really looking like a team who will compete at the top of the table this year with a 6-0 win over Kellyville United. Quakers Hill Juniors put 10 past Pons. And finally, Ropes Crossing Strikers beat Quakers Hill Tigers 5-1. What a turnaround it's been for Ropes, by the way. One of the games of the season already in the Premier League 2 as Newbury Bulls and Town Rangers FC tied 3-3. When Malenja picked up his first Town Rangers FC goal, Manan Deep scored another one, this time from the spot. Ash Alumi also picked up his first goal for Town Rangers. That was on the Sunday, by the way, so these Sunday games proving to be a real treat. Oakville went down 2-1 to Blacktown St. Pat, so we've talked for years about St. Pat's not being able to sort of break the mould of the top 3. Massive win over Oakville for them. Parkley put 5 against Prospects 2. Mintenbury Jets beat Glenwood, the reigning grand final winners, of course, 5-2, and Spurs coming off the bye, of course. Marion converted a 4-1 lead at halftime to be a 4-2 against Eastern Creek on the Sunday game. Workers, of course, as you're now watching the highlights of, went down 7-2 to Ponds in a harrowing day at Labert. In a massive game for the top 4 race, Riverstone beat Quakers Hill Juniors 2-1 as Doonside and Byron Grandamange got his first goal for his new colours as they beat Polonia 1-0. Quakers Hill Tigers coming off of the bye. Right, Blacktown Premier Spurs are returning to the comp this year. What are they all about? Well, they've got some familiar names and some NPL players that are going to come into form as the season goes on. And why do I say as the season goes on? Well, watch this interview and find out exactly what I mean. Tonight, here at Marion Park for Blacktown Premier Spurs, we have 2 podcast debutants. Now, you might remember at the Predictions podcast about a month ago, I said I had no idea who was in this team. And tonight, we finally get to learn a little bit about the team that wears yellow in PL2. Joey Fabiano, of course, a guy who you know as a match of the round goal scorer for Ropes. Tell me, first and foremost, what are you doing here at Spurs, and how exciting is this project ahead?
So in the preseason, Adnan and I spoke, and he told us what he needed over here at Spurs, and it was just something very enticing for myself and some of the ex-Ropes boys. So yeah, about 5 of us came over and thought we'd give it a crack, come over and give him a hand with everything.
Okay. We'll talk about Ropes in a bit more detail in just a sec. Adnan, welcome to the podcast, my friend. I know you have massive influence, not just in this team, but at this club in general. So talk to me a little about your involvement, where you've come from, and your journey to Premier League football.
Played all age 1 last year, and now we're back in Prems. Me and a mate, Rafa, thought we'd put it together again because it's been a while. You know, the atmosphere in a Premier League is just so much better than the other all age and stuff like that. So we thought we'd put it together, and here we are.
Let's delve into that squad a little bit. So tell me about a couple of these boys. Tell me about Rafa, and tell me about some of these other boys that might have come in from Ropes, for example. Joey, I'll get you to talk about this when he's done.
Obviously, we got Joey and then his boys that came across from Ropes. But before that, we started preseason about November. It wasn't much. We had 12 players a session. Got my brother Afan over here, and alongside that, we have a few of his mates and just a bunch of my mates and Rafa's mates. So we've just kind of been rolling along with that. We've had a lot of people come in November, December, and then they left in January. We had actually 9 players, very good quality players, who came in January, and then 2 weeks before the season starts, they just all left. Decided to go play somewhere else. So it happens, life happens. It's all right. But other than that, we've got very good quality, right? 80% of the players are capable of playing Premier League football. People are aware of it, and our squad is aware of it as well, that we have 20% kind of just filling in, helping us out with numbers. And we do hope to improve upon the quality of the squad that we have. But Joey bringing over the boys from Ropes and himself as well, of course, it's huge help.
Good ending there, because now we're going to transition into those questions about Ropes. Let's just ask it with this question, and then we'll ditch it completely. Talk to me about what happened with the Ropes project from your perspective. We've been asking a few Ropes players here and there across the first couple of weeks of this podcast for this year. From your perspective, what happened? I know you were going to go back for a time, so go from there.
Yeah, so in the preseason, Richie, the manager, had reached out to me, asked me to come back because I was at Ponds last season. It looked very positive at first. Fab's coming in, who's now coach of our team here at Spurs. He had everything set up. I just think it was right coach, wrong time, probably the best way to put it. Some of the boys had just grown a bit distant from what was going on at the club, a few coach changeovers and stuff like that, and you had players like Ahmed that wanted to go and possibly win a comp, so now he's gone to Workers, and then as a few of them started to disperse, then it kind of fell apart. But myself, Stevie, Marty and Luke tried to stay together, and we came across to here with Fabs to give Adnan a hand. So yeah.
Just while we're here on the subject as well, is there a certain person you want to send a message to on this podcast tonight?
Yeah, so we still need a centre back. So if Ryan has a party, can come down to training next week. All-Star would be really good and a lot of help for us. So yeah.
It certainly would be. Joey, just going back to you as well on this question. The match of the round occasion is one where big players turn up. You're a goal scorer in one of them, of course. And you've played for big clubs at the highest level in terms of Ponds last year. That would have given you some great experience. Tell me about some of the players that are of that match of the round standout quality. Who can we look to come this Saturday night? Who could stand out for you guys?
Definitely Adnan next to me. First time I saw him, guy's a speed demon. So yeah, he's definitely going to make it a big occasion for himself. And there's a few others like Alex, who came from Polonia last season, and he's of very high quality. And two of the boys that Fab's brought down, which hopefully they'll be able to make it out on the weekend, Thiago and Carlos, which are both, definitely amazing players coming from MPL.
All right, Adnan, tell me about how this team is going to set up to stop a guy from Mintenbury who scored 17 goals in his best season as a PL1 player and was borderline on the golden boot. Blake Curry is his name. He's on the wing. What's the plan to nullify him?
Look, there's not much of a plan at the moment in regards to what we're going to do against any particular player. It's more about how we're going to structure as a team and kind of just take it from there. In regards to our training, we are weeks behind, right? We have a few weeks to go before we are where we can be, right? We're definitely a squad with great potential. As Joey mentioned, we have great players, obviously, but we just kind of need to put it together. So it'll take us a few weeks, we'll get there. But in regards to the plan for the weekend, it's pretty straightforward, right? Fab sets us up. Obviously, coach takes care of us, tells us exactly what to do, and we follow the plan. Simple as that. I'll leave the rest to him. There's not much more to say. Just we play the way we play and worry about the other team later. That's it.
I certainly appreciate the honesty. There's certainly been teams in the past from the last 4 years that we've been doing this who probably haven't been prepared for the season and we're probably not honest about it. So for you guys to actually be honest, I think is a really solid thing for you guys to mention in front of such a big audience. Tell me though, off the back of that, if you said to put a round or a match day, like let's say match day 6, for example, when do you think you guys could be at your fittest and playing your best football?
Give us till match day 7. All right, match day 7, I'm confident we'll have maybe another player or two in and just be fitter and actually have some team chemistry going. And add on top of that, we had a centre-back, our main centre-back who was supposed to play for us, done his ACL, fractured his femur a week before the season started. So terrible. So he's out for the season. And I mean, I know him very, very well to a good extent. He's one of Rafa's mates, but I could confidently say that he would have been the best centre-back in the league if he was here. So I mean, Joey's a testament to how good he was. So, yeah, but it's all right. We've had our losses, but we'll take what we can get. And round 7, we'll be ready.
Round 7, and shout out to Rafa's mate if he happens to be watching this as well. Maybe someone can clip it up and send it to him. Hamza, there you go. Hopefully we get you back in the comp next year. Joey, tell me about when you get to round 7. What kind of brand of football are we going to see from Spurs? Can we expect an extremely low block? You're Italian, I know you probably want to, so is your coach. What can we expect?
So from what I've seen from Fab so far in pre-season with ropes and then leading into Spurs is he likes to play a very high intensity football, high press, need to be super fit, move the ball fast and attack quickly. I think if he can get it going, then we can definitely be a danger in this comp 100% because he'll be definitely one of the best coaches in the comp easily.
Now obviously I want to talk about round 1. Round 1 didn't go great. You're coming off the back of a bye as well. So you lost 5-0. To a team that I predicted, I think, to be the ones to be promotion favourites. So potentially that's not the worst indicator of where you guys are really at. But to have the bye, I think, gives you a chance to have 4 training sessions or 2 training sessions and think about what went wrong. So have you assessed what went wrong and are you prepared to rectify that this weekend?
Yeah, round 1 wasn't the best, that's for sure. But yeah, we've gone back, reevaluated, seen where we're at, and definitely restructured. Fabs has put together a plan. We had a long chat, so there's a lot of changes to be made. But I guess our main letdown was our fitness. Right, they were all over us in regards to fitness. They scored 2 early goals, kind of silly mistakes from us. But the last 3 goals they scored were in the last 9 minutes. I was playing centre back. I was done. I was dead. So I 100% believe that. Look, they're beatable. Well, I believe we can beat them. Great team, great side, great blokes, but no team's unbeatable. And with the potential we have, starting round 7, we'll be ready to take on anyone. No problem.
Okay, excellent. So round 7, when you guys are fit, you've got 1 or 2 more players in. Where can Spurs finish this season, Joey?
I believe that if we get the players in that Adnan and I have spoken about and some of the players that might come next week, easily we can get in the top 4 as long as we don't let the comp get away from us too far.
Okay, do you want to second that?
Yeah, I'll say we'll make the final. We'll win.
Okay, I love it. A very, very honest and a very, very positive interview in a lot of ways. Self-reflective, but not completely dismissive of the situation, which I think is great. And then a bit of fire shown at the end there too, which is always good for entertainment. Boys, thank you very much for coming on the podcast tonight. I really do appreciate it. And good luck this weekend.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Back from a chat with Spurs, and it's really interesting. I've never really seen a team take that kind of approach when they've come on the podcast. Usually they might be lying or sort of not telling the truth about those sorts of things, but they're honest with themselves. They were slow starters, they didn't train early enough, and they are going to feel the burn of that. But it's a lesson learned for that squad. I'm impressed. Let's have a look at some of the fixtures going ahead as we round out the episode. In the Premier League 1, in Creek's debut PL 1 year, this was a finals fixture. It's Eastern Creek versus Doonside Hawks. Workers have to recover away to Quakers Juniors, who will have that bit between their teeth after coming undone against Rivo. Marion and Rivo speak of them as Marion go away to Rivo and Schofields Park, and Polonia will this week have the bye. On Sunday it'll be Ponds versus Tigers. We're going to have to recover from this game here tonight. And don't forget that Tigers did win this reverse fixture last year, so look out for that one. In Elang and Simmons Blacktown Men's Premier League 2, these are the fixtures as follows. Park Lee have the bye. Town Rangers play Oakville in what I predicted to be a first v second clash come the end of the season. Will that prove to be? God, I hope so. Prospect will have to recover after a slow start to the season and play St Pats, who are on a high after last week. And of course, the match of the round, Mintenbury do have Premier Spurs in what I think could be another really high-scoring affair. Again, Newbury have the Sunday game. This time they'll take on the grand final winners, Glenwood. And in the WPL now, Kellyville United have to recover from their thrashing, and they'll play Norwest. Holroyd will take on Castle Hill United. Rouse Hill Rams will take on Kellyville Colts in what could be a really good game. Rouse Hill Rams have come a long way in Kellyville, and we know what they're all about. An all Blacktown affair, Marion and Ponds, we know what a good men's game it is. Let's hope the women pull through too. Parkley were looking to get a good result up against Quakers Tigers, and they would know that they have a chance to do something really impressive against Parkley. But in what could be the game of the round, Quakers Hill Juniors take on Ropes Crossing. That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Blacktown Premier League podcast. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, thanks to Lang & Simmons Blacktown for being our major sponsors of our Men's Premier League 1 and 2. My name is Mark DePoli. If you have enjoyed this episode, you've enjoyed our coverage of all these games, you're enjoying 9-goal match of the rounds, you're enjoying exclusive coverage of these leagues that I know you guys care about, please keep remembering to press that like button. Cue that outro music. But it's falling here towards Icon!
Oh my word.
And now played and struck and in! Further forward now Tagira! Ryan Dominici! Wants a second goal. Isabel Greb should have a second goal! And finishes with ease!